South Korea's lawmakers are introducing legislation to safeguard workers from AI-driven job losses as concerns now grow about machines replacing human labour across the economy. For more, let's head to the sunny Sunshine Coast. Dr. Karen Sutherland joins us from the University of the Sunshine Coast. Great to see you. Talk to us about this. What's motivating the South Korean lawmakers to propose this legislation? What are they hoping to achieve?
They're hoping to achieve protection of workers to enable them to transition more into this AI world that is rapidly developing. And I think it comes from what's happening at Hyundai, where they're planning to mass produce Atlas humanoid robots to cover their assembly lines by 2028, because it's a much more cost-effective way than having human workers, which is a worry. But I think Korea is not the only country looking into this. It's also the US and EU just looking to try and support workers, because there will be a big shift.
It is interesting because many of these economies are also struggling to find workers for a lot of these jobs as well. We think of Japan, that famously has an immigration policy that is very tough, and they are turning to technology and robotics famously when it comes to building cars, because they don't want to bring in outside workers. Do you think that there should be maybe an embracing of technology to be able to assist to help these companies that struggle to find workers? And can any sort of law stop the march of AI?
I don't think so. It's going to take a long time. And as we've discussed many times, the technology just keeps developing and laws cannot keep up with this evolution. However, I think this is to protect current workers in the workplace of them actually being replaced. I think those industries where they can't find workers, this technology would be a great solution. But I think in this case, particularly Hyundai, was looking at the numbers, because if they use robots across their assembly lines, it's going to cost them about $9,700 a year per robot, and these robots can work nearly 24 hours a day. And so with human workers, they said it costs about 130 million won annually for workers. So you can see the benefits of using robots instead of humans, but then there's that sort of human aspect where people are going to be displaced, which is going to be a real issue.
The problem is China's already jumping at this, right? I think it was last month, I'm trying to remember the name of the car company, I can't remember if it was Xiaomi or BYD, but a big Chinese car company released footage showing essentially that they are using these ghost factories where they have robots, as you say, working 24/7, pumping out phones, pumping out cars. And this is a country like China with a population of 1.3 billion people, and they are still trying to move away from people because they want speed, they want accuracy, and they also need to be price competitive. What happens to an economy like South Korea that says, no, we're going to put the focus on people, not on price? That never seems to end well.
No, it really doesn't. And I just wonder how this legislation will actually work. And instead of protect workers, will it mean that workers will keep their current role, or can they transition into other roles where, because humans will still be needed, like there won't be robots taking over every aspect, because humans still need to interact with humans, but I guess it's finding the right positions for them. So there's no real detail yet around how it will actually work, if it means that humans will keep their current role and to stop them being replaced by robots, or what that actual transition will be.
Yeah, it's terrifying, but at the same time, I would imagine that there was a kind of 17th century version of you and I, maybe standing on a mound somewhere in the UK, complaining about what the Industrial Revolution was doing, and we didn't like it. And guess what? It's still going, and it hasn't stopped, and this is just another iteration of where we're at. But as you say, there are real moral questions about what happens to people. It just seems to be interesting that instead of going with the flow, that someone says, no, we're going to put our foot down and try and stop this and protect the jobs in our economy. As I say, just history says that doesn't really work out well. So I guess what are the concerns arising regarding AI's impact on employment? Because just last week we saw Anthropic drop an update of Claude, which scared the heck out of the legal community, out of software engineers right around the world. Anthropic saying that Claude's helping them now to write their code. In fact, not helping them, they are writing the code. The humans are helping. And we seem to be switching things around at such a rapid pace that all of the people asking questions about whether this should happen can't keep up.
That is true. But I think that AI and its evolution it will lead to new roles coming out that will be there, because we still need to check what AI does. There still needs to be some sort of quality assurance at the end of it. And I think that's where humans will need to step in, even transitioning and doing that change management within organisations where they start to truly integrate AI into their practices. I think humans will need to lead that and really help them to make that transition. I think our roles will change, but there'll be new roles that come out of it. And I think that's what we need to have foresight and be able to see where these sorts of roles will be needed and the skills needed as well to help us to make sure that we're employable.
This is that dark factory I was talking about. This is in India, a country, again, with a population of over 1 billion people. I know you travel there quite regularly. This is a factory where without any people, they are building semiconductors from start to finish because there is such a huge demand. And I guess there's just that obvious economic question, as I mentioned, that the Australian car industry found that having highly unionised car industry in an area where people want the cheapest price and they want it fast and they want all the bells and whistles and they don't care who makes it and they will purchase foreign cars if they're cheaper and have better design, it becomes really difficult to try and prevent that as a government, as we have seen in this country. Let's move on. A landmark US trial is putting Instagram and YouTube under intense scrutiny with claims their platforms were deliberately designed to addict children and fuel engagement at the cost of youth user mental health. This feels like a version of the tobacco industry, who were accused of putting nicotine into cigarettes to make it addictive, and instead of it being mental health, it was lung health.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And one of the key facts that came out of this case is that there was an email from Mark Zuckerberg in 2015 telling staff that he wants to increase the time spent on Meta platforms by 12%. So using that as a metric, it means that really he wants to keep people on there, and it insinuates that he was trying to make it addictive in that way because he wants people to spend more time on the platform.
In what ways has that happened, do you think? What did they do? So since there's that email, let's put our thinking caps on. What have they actually done over the past few years to make it more addictive? Because when I look at Facebook, and I will say to my young producer who tells me that young people don't use Facebook, I don't either, thank you. But the challenge being, of course, that they aren't really putting much in your feed anymore from your family and friends. It's a lot of memes, and they've tried to work out, the algorithms tried to work out that I have a Labrador, so I'm just going to keep throwing Ahron Labrador videos because you'll like them. Is that what they've done, or has it been things like stories? What have they actually done to try and increase the user engagement?
They've really done this for a long time, and there's been a lot of research to show how social media platforms try and give people that dopamine hit so they keep coming back. So it can work in a whole range of ways. So yes, the algorithm is really important because it determines what you want to see and what will keep you on the platform longer in terms of the content that you interact with. So it'll show you more of what you interact with. It'll show you more from the people that you interact with and the people that you're messaging and that sort of thing. So that sort of stuff will show up more as well, and what you're searching for. That sort of kicks the algorithm into play as well to give you what you want. But then there's things like when you post and you keep going back to see, has someone liked it? Has someone commented on it? And it's that sort of addiction as well to see how people are responding to your content if you're uploading it too. They've tried on Instagram to do things like you can hide that so you don't see the number of likes that you're getting and things like that, but most people still do, and you can still see it like from the back end. So yeah, there's quite a few ways that they've tried to do that.
Yeah, all right, we'll talk to you again soon. Dr. Karen Sutherland, always appreciate your insights. Thank you.